Hey guys, welcome to the second last episode of this season. And our guest for today's episode is Miss Priyanka Kadam. Welcome to Therapy, and it's so great to have you here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for calling me again, Rujita. It's a pleasure to be here.
Could you just do a quick introduction of yourself so our guests know who they're listening to?
Okay, my name is Priyanka Kadam. I'm a clinical psychologist and I am working in several schools, colleges where I teach psychology, and I also um, I'm associated with them as a mental health expert. And apart from this, some other online platforms where I practice apart from my private practice.
Okay. All right. So, shall we get started?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, our first question is how to deal with long distance relationships.
Yes. So, long distance relationship, I think right now with the COVID situation, even those who are in the same city are having to face this whole long distance relationship thing.
Yeah.
And yes, it is, it feels difficult. I mean, you feel like you've paid your dues and you finally found someone with whom you feel great. And it's just pathetic that you can't meet that person and you can't be around that person. And like I said, because of COVID, people living in the same city are experiencing the whole pangs of separation and not being able to meet. So, first up, what I would like to ascertain that long distance relationships can most definitely succeed and survive. Uh, Much against the popular belief that they are very difficult and eventually they don't succeed. That is not true. So be assured, it is very much possible. And there are some tools which I think might help people navigate through this whole time and distance thing until they're back with their loved ones. So I think one important thing is communication. And by communication, I mean that um, communicate as much or as less as needed. So we are in a time where we can connect on multiple platforms 24/7. Right? Everybody has internet, and there are so many places on which you can communicate. But I think what is important is to communicate and come to a consensus about how often, um, like in a day or in a week, how often you will want to communicate and how, whether it's going to be video calls or text. It's important to understand that both partners may have different ideas of how they would like to communicate and how often. So it's important to set the rules between the two of you, because there are no set rules that okay, long distance means you have to be in touch all the time. There is no one rule to follow. Each couple is different, and each person's um, ex- uh, I mean, what works for them works for them. So it's important to understand and come to a consensus about that, and be very authentic and honest about how you feel, what you want, and then your partner does that, and then you come to a common ground. I think that is one way. Another way is to, I think, be there. So all of us have these emotional calls, those moments where you feel like um, you are expecting your partner to be there for you. So essentially at the core of these situations is the question, are you really there for me? And while you're not physically there and you cannot hug them and make them feel calm and all of that, what you could do is probably weave some of their routine into your day. Like, if you know that they have an important meeting or something that's going to happen and they are maybe a little stressed about it, and ensuring that you check up on them and call up and ask, how was it, and or wish them good luck.
Right.
Or if you have already decided on a time when you would connect, and sticking to that time, like how you would stick to any other appointment, work appointment or doctor's appointment, making sure that you make them feel important. I think that is one thing that always works.
Yeah.
And then maybe other things like reminding your partner about how thankful you are to be in this relationship, what you love about the relationship. Because in long distance, because you're not all the time together, jealousy and doubt is something which can happen. So verbally assuring what makes this special puts that all of those negative emotions at rest. I think apart from that, not forgetting that your partner is a different individual, and you are a different person, and you don't have to be stuck to the hip all the time to be in a good relationship. You could both work and grow on your own pace individually, and then supporting your partner in whatever it is that they want to do, respecting their boundaries, and the same for yourself, drawing boundaries, doing what matters to you. Because if you don't do that, and if you constantly depend on your partner, then you're going to have all of those anxiety, and what is he doing or what is she doing, and I don't know what is happening, because you can't keep a track of everything that they are doing, and you don't need to also. You need to have your own life too. And I think apart from that, maybe finding ways to connect. Everybody has busy schedules, and with this whole remote working thing, the lines between work and home is blurring every minute. So maybe finding time to keep in touch, making a call, or making sure that you find time to text. All of that, I think, helps. Also, I think it helps. If you change your whole attitude towards this long distance thing. I mean, the situation is not changing anytime soon, but your perception can change. You could highlight the good aspects of long distance. I mean, there are, see, at every almost every couple's life, a time comes when they have to spend time apart because of work or because of something or the other, and a lot of people have said that those moments when they were apart were like the cornerstone of the relationship, where they really really learned to value each other. So it really depends on your own perception also to the whole long distance thing, I think. I mean, there is excitement because you're not meeting every day. So focusing on those aspects of anticipation and excitement of meeting, I think that helps. And I think probably in the long run, when the time is right, having a concrete plan, discussing with your partner of when you will be able to merge your worlds together, I think that also gives some kind of a security. I think these are some things which make the long distance work, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. All right. So the second question, it says, how do I deal with self-worth issues if an important relationship does not work?
Right. So usually when a relationship doesn't work, it is very painful. It is one of the most painful experiences we have to deal with, and it can bring in a lot of unpleasant emotions and a lot of doubt, self doubt.
Yeah.
And when it becomes a question where your self worth is hit, then it becomes even more difficult, because then you're constantly plagued with thoughts like, what went wrong? What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently for this to survive? All of these people get caught up in all of this.
Yeah.
And because they want to make sense of why this happened, right? We want to make sense of why this happened. So we come up with these narratives to make sense of whatever it is that has happened for us to accept it.
Yeah.
Now, I think sometimes these narratives, to an extent, it's a healthy habit to evaluate what you did, or how you contributed, what you could do differently next time. But if it becomes a situation where you're constantly ruminating about it and constantly going in self doubt, then that can bring up a lot of negative emotions, a lot of unpleasant emotions, and it makes it difficult to move away from that situation. So I think it's important to have a little bit of awareness about the fact that uh, relationships are difficult, and sometimes people get into relationships without knowing what they want. Maybe sometimes they realize later that, okay, this is something that I'm not ready to do, or sometimes the situation is such that they are not able to give as much as they had planned to originally give. So it is not relationships, I mean, rejection is a part of life, and everybody experiences it at some point or the other. And if we try to not make it personal and not constantly tied to our self worth. I mean, that is one situation that has happened.
Yeah.
That does not have to determine what you are as a person. If we understand that, then maybe it becomes a little easy to deal with it.
Yeah.
Um, Apart from that, I think people get into this place when you get into a relationship, especially a romantic relationship, where You internalize a lot of that person's interests, and it broadens your horizons. And you tie yourself up with their routines, and because you want to match and have be in sync.
Mm.
And that and I think essentially in every relationship we do a lot of give and take, right? We take a lot of their habits and their perspectives, and the other person does that too. So I think that adds to the whole intertwining of the self between the partners. And while that's a good thing, when separation occurs, then you feel a sense of loss of self also when that person leaves. So I think that again also makes it a little difficult. And then people fear rejection. People fear that, okay, you know what, it's going to affect me. I'm probably the cause and all of that. And then they build walls and then they become pessimistic. But I think it helps to understand that rejection is something that is inevitable. All of us experience it. And relationships can fail for a number of reasons. You don't have to be the reason for a relationship to fail. It simply could be because your partner had not thought it through. As simple as that. I mean, it's sad, but it's possible. So I think not tying everything to your self-worth and understanding that your worth remains what it is, irrespective of your relationship, irrespective of how much you achieve professionally,
Yeah.
is a good way to remind yourself that, okay, this is something that has happened, and what can I learn from it, and what can I do better next time, and move past it. I think that's the way to go about it.
Right. Yeah. All right. Okay. So the last question for today,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
says, what can I do to get over a failed relationship positively or healthily?
Right. So again, this again has the whole self concept, self worth thing tied to it. Now, yes, breakups are difficult, and we have our friends and loved ones telling us that, what, forget it, if he doesn't care or she doesn't care, why should you? And don't stop thinking, and
Yeah.
you deserve better. And all of this pep talk doesn't work because you're feeling sad, and it is important to honor that. It is important to grieve the loss. The only way to heal is to feel it. You have to sit through it, go through it. But uh, once you have done that, once you have acknowledged that, yes, I am feeling pain, I am feeling bad about this, and this is something that I didn't want to happen, but now that it has, it
Mhm.
is okay to feel sad. Once you are done with that, once you have sat through and allowed yourself to feel all of that, then is the time you need to start doing things to keep yourself grounded and to keep yourself focused on yourself. Because relationships are a window to understand ourselves. You know, like I said some time ago, that we exchanged so many things. Our personalities go through transformation in a relationship. So, what you were before the relationship and what you are now may be different. So this is a good time to tune into yourself, your own needs. You can spend time with your close, loved ones. You can write a journal. If you feel like, okay, I was doing better until 2 days ago, and again I'm feeling sad, it's okay to feel sad. There is no harm in feeling sad. People put so much pressure on themselves to not miss that person, not feel sad. It's unrealistic. It's going to happen. Allow it. The more you block it, the more it's going to come and affect you in some way or the other. It's okay to feel it and then again get back to your routine. I think help having a routine, having a structure to the day helps a lot to keep yourself grounded, to keep yourself focused. Getting into some kind of a physical activity, exercise, meditation, most definitely has a very good impact on mental health. um, I think, what could I have done? What could I have not done? What if this had not happened? What if that had not happened? What could be the alternate scenarios? I think we get into that trap, but that doesn't really help much. So it's okay to let go. And I think maybe getting into spending time with yourself, making yourself a priority is very important at that time. You have undergone some kind of a loss, and you need now to nurture yourself, be compassionate, be kind to yourself, give all the self care you need. And I'm not talking only about burning scented candles and that kind of going to the spa. And having chocolates and ice creams kind of self care. I'm talking about really tuning into your emotional needs.
Right.
You had a life before your partner. What was that life like? What was it? What were the hobbies that you were pursuing before that person came in? Maybe you could go back to that, or pick up something new. I mean, all of us always have this bucket list, oh, I wish I had done that, or I someday want to do this one. This is a good time to explore that. Explore different things, meet different people. I mean, most importantly, don't give up. Don't give up on love, and don't give up on hope, because it's not worth it. I mean, life is all about growing, and no situation is permanent. Happiness is not permanent, sadness is not permanent. So I think it's important to remind yourself of that. Learn from the experience. All experiences teach us something. Learn from it and move on. And I think it's important also to forgive. Learning to forgive is very important. I think we hold on to a lot of resentment because we're not able to forgive ourselves or our partners. And by forgiving, you don't have to, communicate it. It's just in your own head, to let go, to just, let go of the pain. Allow yourself to just set yourself free from that experience. Okay, this is what happened. This is what I learned. This is what I did, and this I could do better, and then move on. I think that's
Right.
that's how you do it essentially.
Positively.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that session. I think it was really knowledgeable, and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Rajita. Thank you so much. It's always so nice to meet you and talk to you.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Hi, guys. I hope all of you liked and related to this episode on some level. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, please. And do let us know about your opinions, your feedback, and anything else you have for us. Thank you. Bye bye.